Wenn wir siegen, wird die Welt sich verändern. Grenzen werden durch Macht bestimmt, nicht durch Verhandlungen. Eine Sprache, ein Gesetz, ein Führerordnung ersetzt das Chaos. Dies ist die Zukunft, die wir erschaffen.
What if the Nazis had won World War II? In part 1, we explored a hypothetical scenario of how the world might have looked, but now it's time to dive into reality. Hitler and the Nazis were convinced they'd win. This wasn't just another war, it was a grand plan to reshape the world. But here's the real question. What kind of future did they actually have in mind? Their ambitions went far beyond just conquering countries. The Nazis had clear plans for what they wanted to do after winning, plans that could have completely rewritten history and turned our world into something unrecognizable. In this video, we'll go over 10 shocking things the Nazis actually intended to do if they had won the war. Stick around until the end. Some of these will blow your mind.
This is a new channel, and to help it grow and create even better content, we really need your support. So please show us some love and hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
What if the Nazis had won World War II? The world as we know it was shaped by the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945. But what if history had taken a darker path? If Hitler and his allies had emerged victorious, the consequences would have been terrifyingly different from our present reality. Here are 10 chilling scenarios that could have unfolded in this alternate reality where the Axis powers conquered the world. 10. Returning America to Native Americans? Despite being architects of racial genocide, there are reports that the Nazis intended to return America to its indigenous people, or at least that's what they told certain Native American groups. Allegedly, they reached out to indigenous leaders, promising that once the US government was overthrown, they would restore their ancestral lands. Whether this was a genuine plan or merely a ploy to destabilize America remains unknown. What is clear, however, is that some indigenous groups were intrigued by these promises, unaware that Nazi ideology would likely turn against them in the end. 9. The Nazi sun gun, a giant space mirror to burn cities. Imagine a weapon capable of setting cities ablaze from Earth's orbit. The sun gun was a proposed 1.1-kilometer-wide space mirror designed to reflect sunlight and create devastating heat beams. The concept resembled how a child might use a magnifying glass to burn ants. Had the Nazis succeeded in constructing it, the world would have lived under the constant threat of instant annihilation, without the need for conventional warfare. Eight, the Japanese Empire's domination of Asia. Japan and Nazi Germany were allies, but their ambitions were separate. Japan aimed to establish its own empire across East Asia, branding it the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. Under their rule, occupied territories would have been forced to adopt Japanese customs, language, and leadership. Countries like India, Australia, and New Zealand were also on their list of targets. The world might have been split in two, half under Nazi control, the other half ruled by the Japanese Empire. Seven, a human wall against the Japanese. Even as allies, the Nazis anticipated a future war with Japan. Their solution? A mind-boggling population engineering project. They planned to send thousands of German settlers to the eastern borders of their empire, encouraging them to have large families in hopes of raising an army of Aryan warriors who would eventually face off against the Japanese.
This year they say there are 800,000 pairs of boots standing heel to heel, waiting for the Führer's final speech. And the high spot comes when, after a detailed review of Nazi achievements, Hitler cries, "My life's fight has not been in vain."
6. America versus Britain. A Nazi-orchestrated war. Hitler believed that the US and Britain would eventually go to war. His theory was that American ambitions would clash with British colonial rule, leading to a conflict that would weaken both nations. The Nazis planned to exploit this tension so that once these two superpowers exhausted themselves, Germany could rise as the dominant global force.
Lies a group with one of the most interesting histories in all of Europe, often satirized here in the Western world both historically and in the present as dull yet innovative, uncoordinated but powerful when united. As many people already know, the English word slave actually derives from the word Slav, a reference to the Slavic people and their perilous position for well into the second millennia, as Slavs were often downtrodden by the Byzantines, Ottomans, Norse, Vikings, Mongols, and other aggressors in and around Europe, and were very nearly stamped out of existence several times in the past.
5. The enslavement of Eastern Europe. Nazi ideology regarded Slavs as subhuman. Had they won the war, Eastern Europe would have become a vast colony of slave laborers. Hitler's long-term plan involved either exterminating or deporting millions of Slavs to Siberia, while German settlers took over their lands. Estimates suggest that around 50 million people would have either been killed or enslaved in this brutal New Europe.
On a January morning in 1915, a ship landed in Bombay from South Africa. After 27 years away from India, Mohandas Gandhi was coming home. Waiting for this humble man were crowds of people who had never seen Gandhi in person, but his return held great promise for them.
The fate of India and Gandhi. Hitler saw Mahatma Gandhi's movement as a threat to the British Empire, and even urged Britain to assassinate him. However, in a Nazi victory scenario, India's fate would have been bleak. The Nazis viewed Indians as an inferior race, and their long-term plans likely involved oppression and exploitation, similar to what they had envisioned for Eastern Europe. 3. Enslaving British men and breeding women for Aryan children. If Britain had fallen, all men aged 18 to 30 would have been sent to forced labor camps, while women and children would have been absorbed into Nazi society. The Nazis had a history of kidnapping children who fit their Aryan ideal and raising them in German families. A Nazi-occupied Britain might have undergone horrific demographic changes. Two, an Islamic fascist alliance? Surprisingly, Hitler saw potential allies in certain Muslim leaders who shared a common enmity toward Jews, British colonialists, and communists. The Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Amin al-Husseini, was a well-known Nazi supporter who discussed plans to exterminate Jews in the Middle East. If the Nazis had won, they might have allowed the formation of a fascist Islamic state in the region, at least temporarily, before inevitably turning against them, as they did with other allies. 1. A distorted religious experiment in Eastern Europe. While the Nazis suppressed many religious groups, some high-ranking SS officers had bizarre ideas about shaping religious ideology to serve their empire. Heinrich Himmler, architect of the Holocaust, was obsessed with creating a Nazi-inspired spiritual movement. He believed Eastern European populations could be brainwashed into following a perverted version of religion aligned with Nazi ideology. Had they succeeded, entire nations might have fallen under ideological control. Defeat of Nazi Germany was one of humanity's most crucial historical moments. The alternative, a world under the Third Reich, would have been a nightmare beyond imagination. The world we live in today, for all its flaws, is far better than the brutal dystopia that could have existed under Nazi rule. So next time you look at a world map or follow global events, remember that history could have taken a drastically different turn. The lessons of the past remind us to stay vigilant and ensure such a dark future never becomes reality. Stay curious, stay informed, and above all, appreciate the world we have.